Hello students. In the earlier video we have started the revision of the chapter reproduction in plants and animals. We have discussed a few points like what is reproduction. Okay, so reproduction is nothing but it is the process, biological process by which an organism makes the organisms of its own kind. Okay, so reproduction is important for the survival of the species. There are the two types of reproduction: asexual, okay, and sexual. In asexual, what happens? There is one parent that is going to give the offsprings which are identical. Okay, offsprings are identical. They are identical to each other as well as they are identical to the parent. Okay, but in sexual reproduction, what is happening? There will be the two parents. Okay, one is the male and other is the female, and each of these will produce gametes. Okay, gametes are special cells which are nothing but sex cells. Okay, these cells fuse to produce the offsprings. Okay, so these offsprings are not identical to the parents, they are a mix of the characters. Okay, mix of characters of their parents. Okay, next we saw that the types of reproduction in plants. Okay, reproduction in plants, there are also two types, right? Asexual and sexual. So under asexual reproduction in plants, there are the two types. One is spore formation. Okay, so certain parts of the plant which are called the sporangium, they are globular structure. Okay, inside them lot of spores will be there. Okay, they are enclosed in this structure called sporangium, which is singular. Okay, otherwise it is called sporangia plural. So when they mature, these spores are released outside and they can be dispersed by the wind or by water. Each of these spores can produce the new offspring. Okay, the other type is the vegetative propagation. Okay, vegetative propagation. So under vegetative propagation, again there are the two types. Okay, one is the known as natural vegetative propagation, and the other is artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, so what happens in the natural vegetative propagation? So in natural vegetative propagation, there are the different types. Okay, the parts of the plant like the roots, okay, stem, leaf, okay, all of these can produce the new plant. Now for example, we saw the roots. Okay, natural propagation by roots, example is potato, dahlia, guava, okay, mint, all of these they have buds in the roots. Okay, so this is how they can propagate. Whereas carrots, turnip, radish, okay, they have the buds in the base of the stem, base of the mature stem, and from here the new plant can arise. So the natural vegetative propagation can also take place by the stem. Okay, so with the stem what happens, either it can be underground, okay, underground stem. So if it is the underground stem, there are the different types. Okay, one is the rhizome, okay, it can be the tuber, bulb, corm. Okay, so these are the four types of underground stem, okay, that can be used in the natural vegetative propagation. So what are rhizomes? For example, in ginger, okay, and banana, what happens, there are the short swollen underground stem, okay, these have buds, nodes, internodes, okay, so in their roots, and these will help in the propagation of the new plant. Whereas a tuber, this you can see in potato, what happens, it is a swollen underground stem, okay, so what happens, it has eyes like structure, okay, like this kind of structures are there in the potato, right? So these are having the eyes or nodes which are containing the buds, okay, these buds, individual buds, when we cut it out and put it in the moist soil, they can produce a new plant. Next, coming to the bulb, example, onion, garlic, lily, okay, so what happens in these are the small disc like, okay, these have the small disc like structures which are enclosed by the scale leaves, okay, and they have the scale leaves. So therefore you, as you may remember, in the onion it is like this, right? So there will be the number of scale leaves will be there. And the apical bud, this is called the apical bud on the top. Apical bud, it will form the flowering aerial shoot, whereas the lateral bud here sides, it will form these scale leaves, okay. Next, corm. Corm is what we see in the example of colocasia, okay, in Hindi it is called arbi, okay, or gladiolus, okay, gladiolus. So gladiolus is a flowering plant, okay, it is looks like a sword and lot of flowers are in there on that. So it is a condensed rhizome, is a condensed rhizome, and it is also surrounded by scale leaves, okay, scale leaves, and these scale leaves, they bear the buds, and these buds, they can form the new plant, okay. So these are all aerial, these are all underground stems, okay, these are rhizome, tuber, bulb and corm, all of these are underground stem, okay, but there are also the aerial stem, aerial, okay, aerial part, that is exposed to the air. So under that one we have what we say the runners. So some plants like grasses, strawberry, so what happens, so you have the plant, the branches are coming out, some branches they come out from the base and they are touching the soil again, okay, so here is the root, they are so wherever they are touching the soil, it can result in the formation of new roots. So even if this will cut, it can form the new plant. So these types, these are known as the runners, okay. This is also nothing but vegetative propagation by stem. The vegetative propagation can also take by the leaves. Okay, example is bryophyllum, 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 and begonia. Okay, so what happens, there are some adventitious buds on their leaves. So these are leaves. So the leaves are generally, they will have little bit zigzag. Okay, and in this zigzag there will be some buds, okay, at this notches. So these buds, they are having the ability to form the new plant. Either they will fall off from the leaf on the ground and make the new plant, or sometimes they are still attached to the plant and it can produce the new plant. Okay, so this is how the leaves are also able to do the natural propagation by natural vegetative propagation. So now we will cover about the artificial vegetative propagation. Okay, artificial vegetative propagation. So under artificial vegetative propagation, there are the mainly 4 types. One is cutting. The next one is layering. Okay, then is grafting, and then we have the tissue culture. Okay, so what is cutting? So generally you may have observed that in the case of rose, sugarcane, China rose, okay, China rose, lemon. So in all of these plants, if you just cut the stem, so if there is a branch like this, and if you are cutting it laterally across, okay, so then what happens, if you cut it in an oblique fashion, these can be put directly into the soil, okay, to initiate rooting and produce the new plant. Okay, so this is one method of artificial vegetative propagation, okay, to produce the new plants, that is simple cutting. What is layering? In plants like jasmine, strawberry, okay, raspberry, what happens, similar to what we saw here in the case of runner, in that way it is formed. Okay, and then even if it is detaching from the original plant, then also it will be propagated into the new plant. Okay, grafting in mango, guava, apple, rubber, citrus plants, in the peach plants. So in all of these ones, what happens is grafting procedure can be done, in which what happens, that there is a plant, for example, okay, it has grown, and then you can make a cutting over here, and you can take the cutting of a branch from another plant and you can fix it here, okay, and you can tie it. In this it is tied. So what happens, this is from a different plant, this portion is from a different plant. Both of these, after a few days, they will fuse and they will become one plant. Okay, this lower section which is attached to the soil by the roots is known as the stalk. Okay, and this part which is taken from the another plant is known as the scion, S-C-I-O-N, scion. Okay, so stalk and scion together, they are involved in the grafting. So how the nursery people, how they are doing this kind of thing? For example, if there is a mango variety which is producing very large and good number of mangoes, very tasty mangoes, so they cut from that branch and they will uh, graft it into a stock plant which is having very good root growth, okay, and it is very strong. In this way what happens is, in short time you are able to get very good quality mangoes from that plant. So that is a grafting. Okay. Tissue culture. So tissue culture is a little bit different, and it is mainly done in the case of ornamental plants. Okay, ornamental plants like orchids. Okay, orchids are flowers which are very expensive flowers. Okay, they are parasitic, they generally on the other plants they will grow. So it is difficult to grow these plants, therefore tissue culture is used to propagate them. This process is also known as the micro propagation. Okay, micro propagation. So what happens in micro propagation, that the small amount of tissue, okay, small amount of tissue is taken from the parent plant. From where it is taken? From the growing tips. For example, if it is a plant, that growing tip on the top of the stem, the apical or in the lateral, whatever, these are the growing tips, right? In all of these tissues can be taken, okay, and they are cultured in the laboratory. Okay, in the laboratory they are cultured. So this is the in micropropagation. So what happens in this one? This whatever the small tissue is taken from this plant, it is known as the explant. Okay, it is known as the explant. So in this one, what are the steps are followed in tissue culture? Firstly, whatever that explant is there, that is the small tissue that is taken from the actively growing part of the plant, that explant is grown in nutrient media. Okay, nutrient medium. So what is nutrient medium? Nutrient medium is nothing but it is the sorry, it is the medium which is having the different minerals and carbon source, nitrogen source, in which this tissue can grow. Okay, then what happens, after some time callus is formed. Okay, what is callus? Here we have taken little bit of tissue. After a certain time what happens, it forms into an undifferentiated, okay, it forms an undifferentiated mass of cells called callus. This can be further maintained for some more time. So what will happen, the callus also will increase, more and more callus you will get. This callus, small amount of it can be transferred into different media which is having the hormones. Okay, so what the hormones will do, it will cause the differentiation of this callus okay into the root and shoots. Okay, and then we whatever we obtained from this one, that is known as the plantlets. That means these are very small plants. These plantlets, after 4 to 6 weeks, okay, after 4 to 6 weeks they can be transferred into the pots or into the fields. Okay, into the nurseries it can be transferred. So in this way the process of tissue culture is done. What are the advantages of tissue culture? One, that many plants can be obtained from very little tissue. Correct. Then there is a rapid propagation. That is, otherwise you need to wait for a lot of time, that it will grow, it will produce the fruits and the seeds, and from the seeds you will germinate and all this. It takes a lot of time, right? So the next one is very small explants are used for propagation. Okay, so that means from only one plant you can produce so many plants. Okay, with little tissue you can produce so many plants. Also generally these are disease free. Okay, these are disease free, they do not have any diseases, so that's how we select these parents. Okay, that they should not have any disease, then whatever we make so many plants by tissue culture, they also will not have any disease. Then they can be propagated any time of the year. Okay, why? Because it is done in the laboratory. What are the disadvantages? The main disadvantage is that it is the high cost, high production cost. Okay, because it is done in laboratory, lot of care has to be taken to prevent the contamination. So not applicable, this process is not applicable to many species. Okay, because the process by which it is cultured in the laboratory, it has to be standardized, so that is still now done for a few species, not all species. Okay, so we will cover the rest of the chapter, we'll revise in the next video. Thank you.